Hi there, my name's Elliot. I'm the founder of Contrast, an e-commerce marketing agency, and today we're going to dig into link building and how to do this through a competitor analysis. This is a great way of obviously finding easy opportunities to quickly explore and hopefully increase your link building efforts. Make sure to stick around to the end, as we've got a free downloadable spreadsheet to help you with your competitor analysis. Plug in all the raw data and it'll tell you the opportunities. So what we'll be looking at today is the benefits of using a competitor analysis. How do you actually define your competitors and who are they? Who should you actually be looking at? Once we've got all this information, how do you actually go about acquiring those links to bolster your link profile? So we'll jump right into this and talk about just why would we even want to consider using a competitor analysis, in this case for gaining easier links. The great thing is, before you run any sophisticated or ideation session for link building, doing a competitor analysis is one of the places I always start. Even if that's just as simple as just quickly skimming through the backlink profile of a competitor, because at the end of the day, it tells you a lot about how they're approaching their marketing efforts at their business and within their company. Because what you'll be able to do is go through those links to ultimately reverse engineer to come up with the campaigns, the ideas and the processes behind how they're getting each of those links. So it gives you a lot of information. Sometimes, even if it's no information, that's a lot to say that these people aren't doing this. Maybe we should. And that's the gap, a bit more of a gap as well. A lot of the time, even when you're beginning out running these campaigns, there's no point in reinventing the wheel. So instead of spending loads of time trying to come up with new, just look at what's already worked and don't waste time and energy. So hence, this is one of the great strategies we use for this, is to explore, figure out what the competitors are doing well, and then look at ways of replicating it without ripping it off. That's the great thing about this, is it's an easier way of a lower resource to ultimately getting a quicker, better end result in the near future before having to do more resource intensive link building effort. Obviously now we'll jump into the reasons of more around the benefits, obviously using this competitor analysis. It kind of breaks down into these areas that, for argument's sake, we're a newer e-com store. We're looking at our competitors that are kind of closer to us in kind of lifetime stage and ability and funding and different resources, rather than just complete market leader. And we can see, for argument's sake, that they've got 50 backlinks. And obviously for us then, if we're just starting out, we know then that this is the first milestone of what we want to be setting the goal as. Is just above that. That's kind of we're thinking quality over quantity here as well, when it comes obviously to link building, that to obviously get to their level of performance, if we know that, for argument's sake, they're bringing in 1,000 organic visits per month, and they've got this off having this 50 strong backlink profile, we know that we want to replicate something to that level to achieve a similar success. So we can get an idea of what organic traffic levels we might be able to achieve with everything else in place. So you might have heard of more sophisticated SEOs talking around link velocity, and essentially speaking, all we mean there is that how many new links are they acquiring each month over month. Because even if this company is a competitor starts with 50, and we know that they're gaining hypothetically 5 new links a month, there's no point in us just setting our goal on trying to get 50 or 60 links. We know that every month that passes, they're going to get another 5. So we need to make sure our targets to keep up with them and then obviously surpass them, that we've got this in mind. So we then know what the velocity is to how much marketing activities we might have to do. Obviously, when you're looking into these sectors and your competitors, you'll probably find that some of the small to mid players, their velocity is probably non-existent or very, very low, compared to market leaders that you're just not going to have the resources to be able to compete with them on that level. So don't worry about that. Try and get up to the level you can that when you get more resources and an ability of, that you can then ultimately try and catch them up with time. And that obviously gives you more insight around the velocity. Obviously as well, then moving on to like the next benefit is the fact that once you're going through and looking at all these backlinks that they've got, and if we're probably ordering them in authoritativeness, you'll see these opportunities that they've had, and it could be the case of, I don't know, it was a guest post. So that with this information moving forwards, you're starting to build up a picture of the strategies that they've used to ultimately acquire these links, whether that was intentional or passively. So you could be then going through, oh, this one was done through a press release, or this one was done through an interview, that you can start to build up a picture from reverse engineering this, that these are the strategies and tactics that they've used. Okay, great, we'll note that down. As ultimately then, as part of our strategy moving forward, we'll look to create, okay, we need our founder to do some interviews or go on some podcasts. Well, great, we've got a list here of podcasts we can pitch. They're going to do some story-led founder experience stuff. Great, we've got some business publications we can target here, because all our competitors have got links off these already. Let's target them ourselves. So it gives you those ways to figure out what campaigns have worked themselves. As well as this, we probably want to also look to be building up closer ties with industry publications and also with partners. So this way you might find new opportunities of either industry people that you weren't already aware of, because this has been highlighted through the competitors who have already got a bit of relationship because they've got links from them. This way you could obviously identify those new opportunities for you. So here, in terms of, we're going to talk about defining who your competitors are. And at the end of the day, from an SEO point of view and from a link building perspective, we want to consider these people as direct or indirect competitors, people that, for argument's sake, indirectly as an e-commerce company, you are competing with the likes of Amazon, but if we were, for argument's sake, a cycle company, we'd be competing in the UK up against the likes of Raleigh, Giant, Specialized. They'd be kind of like direct competitors, as well as the further just the retailers of those brands as well. Like, we could then look into how they're performing. So that way we can then get an understanding of just me being in the industry. I know those would be my competitors, but also as well, probably worth looking at who's ranking. This way we probably might even get better information from this. So just type in some related industry queries. So for example, if it was bikes, we could just look at mountain bikes, look at the first page results of this, and we could get and look to see who some of the retailers or businesses that are ranking for those terms and make a note of them. Now that we've got the competitors, what are we going to do with that information to ultimately go about acquiring these links? Obviously, now we've got this competitor information, what are we going to do about going to acquire those links? So pretty much the way that I would approach this is we just log into one of the tools like either Ahrefs or SEMrush, and we're just going to paste in the site URL. And this will then ultimately, as you can see, like this screenshot here, we've just pasted the URL in here to do with garden furniture. So in this case, what I'd be thinking about is, okay, we've got our brand page around garden furniture. Like, how can we build more links to our category page? Same approach, whether it's domain, category, product, doesn't matter. You can take the same approach from a competitor analysis perspective. We paste that URL into Ahrefs. It pulls up the information like we can see here, and we can see this competitor who's ranking number one in the organic search results. They've got 135 referring domains, all the relevant terms that they can target. This page is ranking and generating them a lot of organic traffic. So we obviously want to try and replicate this as much as possible. So again, to having that level of success, the domain authority, we also need to increase the referring domains to that category page, which is hard. So what we then do is we then click onto the referring domains, in this case 135. And this then will break down all of those different opportunities. So for us now, what we'll do is we'll now jump onto the next slide and dig into these links. And as we've discussed about before, the benefits, we'll then be able to start to dig in, reverse engineer how they actually did these strategies. As you can see here from the screenshot, we've obviously clicked into to see all the backlinks As obviously we could look at referring domains, but we're going to specifically just look at the backlinks here to see the opportunities that they've got and how they got them. So with this, we can see that some websites, some referring domains will have links to more sites. So we've got, for argument's sake, we could have one referring domain linking and have backlinks to multiple different pages, and that's what we can see here in this section here, that this one referring domain has links to 2 different pages on our competitor's site. Essentially what I would do here is, if I'm just skimming and just want to get an overview, I can just look through this page and mentally just make notes and think about like, oh, this is what they're doing. It's great just to kind of get a quick overview, but if we're taking this a little bit more seriously and we want to do this in a bit more detail and actually remember this information, because it can get quite hard when we're trolling through so much data, is actually just export that information. So literally in Ahrefs, you can see the export button, and then you can just get a downloadable file of all this information, open up a Google spreadsheet, import the information, and then that's pretty much when you could obviously start to go and think about categorizing it, add some extra columns to go, right, okay, this is, for argument's sake, guest post, this is podcast interview, you can then start to get an idea at a high level the tactics that have been used, and then you can get an idea of the frequency and things like that. When it comes to it and you've got all this data in one place and it's been analysed, okay, right, okay, we now know we need to do, from a strategy perspective, we're actually going to run a podcast, or we want to appear as a guest on a podcast, or it could be we're going to look to do some guest posts. Well, right, okay, we're going to look to do some guest posts. Well, which guest post sites do we want to go on to? Well, this spreadsheet already tells you where your competitors have those guest posts. Right, now all you need to do is go on that website and locate the either write for us or contact information and reach out to them and have a pleasant conversation and see what's possible. Like, these are the steps you would then go through. And within there, you might want to hide little bits of data and stuff like that. Depending if you're going for and pasting this information out of Ahrefs or SEMrush. If you are on a category page, there might not be lots of domains or referring domains, sorry. But if you're doing the root domain, just the full like www.brandname.com, you might have thousands of domains to go through, and this could take you a lot longer, but you obviously got a lot more analysis. Again, you don't have to stop at just one competitor. You could do multiple, or you could do a lot of the industry to get an understanding how they are doing it, to easily uncover these opportunities. Again, if somebody's already gone to the time and care and they've done the hard effort to already write about your competitors, there's a more likely chance that they might cover you because they've already specifically written about it before. So that's again like where we talked about here. Click on the export, and we're just going to go, in this case, first 1,000 rows, export for Microsoft Excel, and then click Start Export. And this is how we're talking about working it from a spreadsheet perspective. Here we've then gone about, we can put it in here, and we've gone and categorized, is it do follow or no follow, and then we want to put the domain rating in, the traffic the article gets, and then ultimately, in this case, something we probably mentioned that we might want to categorize further is the style of post it is. And then from there, do we think it's an opportunity worthwhile targeting for ourselves by putting yes or no, which gives you, somebody on your team then a more actionable outreach list to then know about who to target. As you can see here, we've done this, one of our competitors taking the outreach list and then going with it. And then obviously, like we said, finding contact information to be able to reach out for them, having a notes column, and then what were the results of that? We've got all this information in one place. So then again, how we know how we're going to prioritize this is we're ultimately going to start with the more authoritative, relevant sites. So here we'd start at the top and then work our way down, and just work with them to build up relationships, and hopefully in the more short term, pitch them and get an opportunity secured for a placement on their site in some shape or form that's relevant to the opportunity that you've already identified that you're going to pitch them on. Obviously, we've used a few different spreadsheets here that we've kind of done custom for ourselves. What you can do is, if you go into the comments below, there is a competitor gap analysis spreadsheet that you can download, and it will walk you through the steps to exporting all this information out of Ahrefs and then putting it into this to helping you find these and uncover these opportunities from both a keyword and backlink perspective across all your competitors, to then obviously know who to prioritize and reach out to. Should you have any further questions or want any help with obviously your link building efforts, you're more than happy to get in touch with us. Obviously our website information is below, which is contrast.digital, or you can reach out via email with the information below.